let's get right into it. So, there was I watch a lot of stuff. I do a lot of stuff on psychic phenomena on my channel. Um, I do a lot of current events, but also um, a large portion of stuff is like psychic phenomena because it fascinates me. So I like to listen to people's dreams. So did I think it was Dr. Carl Gustav Jung. He was a he was the father of modern psychology, and he had a hobby. He liked to he liked to listen to the dreams of black people. Um, Interestingly enough, but anyway, so um, and people in general, and so I also like to. It's a hobby of mine. I like to listen to people's dreams, and so because I've seen dreams come true. So dreams are fascinating, and then all of the prophecy in the Bible come from dreams, or men who had dreams. So I always find these phenomena of, human psychic um, abilities, dreams, remote viewing, etc. Interesting. Anyway, so this woman had a dream of the near future, I believe, and a lot of these people. Let me preface this, but I don't believe in the rapture. So she's going to talk about some things. She's going to mention the rapture. I don't believe in that. Um, there is, I believe in salvation event. I do not believe in a rapture event. I think it's funny when a lot of people they participate in a lot of horrible shit on the earth. Let's just be plain. And then all of a sudden they feel like somehow they're part of some type of religion that's going to um, they're going to hop on this you know bypass, and they're going to get off of the planet, after being a part of a people and being part of a group on the earth, and being a part of people on the earth that really were quite destructive. I mean, they participate in white supremacy, racism, all kinds of, genocide. Come from a lineage of evil and genocide, and all kinds of just wicked, shit. And then they say, well, I'm gonna, they have this white religious Nazi cult group called Christianity, and they say, well, I'm gonna get raptured, and something, bad stuff's gonna happen, and then, but I'm gonna get raptured, and I'm gonna be on a cloud with Jesus, and nothing bad's gonna happen to me. And I just think I think to myself like, how weird, right? But coming from people that have a lineage of evil, I'm not surprised that people they take this trip into an alternate reality to try to bypass basically trashing the whole earth, and then they have a religion that takes a trip into an alternate reality in which they bypass all of their, basically all of the horrible shit that they've done. But anyway, so she's gonna talk about some stuff, but I do find some of what she says interesting. So let's take a listen. Uh, One of the main reasons is she said something in her dream that I said recently in one of my vlogs when I talked about what was going to happen to the pyramids in Egypt, right? So let's listen to a little bit of this.
They were ducking as they moved and trying to find a place to run. Many people had nothing but, many places had nothing but silence. The silence was terrifying. There were no vehicles working or planes flying at this moment. No birds in the sky. Some people were looking out towards the water to see if they could see how far apart another land went. People tried yelling across to others to check on them, to see if there would be a response. They were already thinking about making a makeshift boat to the other side. I could hear their voices echoing across. Then
Bless you, brothers.
the land was shifted, especially the United States. It had been broken up into many large and small pieces of land. This was unbelievable to all the people who witnessed this. The whole country was split apart like a large puzzle. There were areas of land all over the world already underwater. Just beforehand, an earthquake took place, the largest magnitude. It shook the whole earth. God made it so I could feel and see the whole body of Christ was completely gone. The feeling of this was so great, it was absolutely clear. God highlighted that Israel was in the highest degree of war when this happened. I could see the soldiers fighting. There was smoke in the sky. Many people were confused. So much destruction. I was viewing this vision like a movie, but this is real life. Many left behind knew that the rapture took place and that this is the end. I could hear so many screaming, crying, and running, and loud explosions. Just so much shock and confusion. The sky was dark and gray, thick with smoke. This darkness carried an evil to it. The smoke was so thick with ash, it seemed as if all of the volcanoes went off at once. The feeling of separation was such a huge emotion. The feeling is so strong, it's heartbreaking, soul-shattering. The people felt this greatly just from looking up at the sky, that God took his people home. And this separation was heavy from the masses of people that were divided on the earth by being pulled apart by the earthquake. The water looked like a dark blue abyss. It was very scary to look into. People were running past houses and buildings that looked like fires and explosions happened there. Some buildings were still standing but not whole. God highlighted the Bibles in many locations that were still whole, waiting to be found. Many clues were left behind that God would help everyone find that he wanted to find them. I could see crushed cars and parked cars that had broken glass all around them from the windows. Many empty homes. There was no power. Many died from the sudden destruction that took place. But many were already being moved to safety. God was already making a way for them. I could see what looked like masses of these evil, demonic-looking creatures hunting together in the cities. These are not aliens. These are demons, fallen angels. They had sharp fingers. They were tall, strong bodies. You could not defeat them. Their eyes looked like they couldn't wait to grab a hold of someone. This was judgment. God showed me these people in bunkers. Many were leaders who left their families ahead of time. There were leaders that did not have time to make it. Some leaders were celebrities that took their families in their bunkers beforehand, but some were split up in these bunkers because of the rapture. Even the bunkers had no light at the moment. These people were very shocked in the bunkers that the rapture happened while they were in their bunkers. It's like they believed that God wouldn't reach them where they were. There were more belongings of containers of food, water, and equipment, more than there were people in these bunkers. I could see in their eyes they were in so much fear. They knew what happened and knew it would get worse. The scene changed. I saw skyscrapers tilting over as a gigantic tsunami wave went over these tall buildings, and people were trying to run, but it was too late. Many islands were swallowed up. On land, God highlighted many people's thoughts. I could feel many families, many split up from the rapture or death. Their thoughts were very clear. I could hear them saying, they were right. They were right. They were heavily grieving. They were ducking as they moved and trying to find a place to run. Many places had nothing but silence. The silence was terrifying. There were no vehicles working or planes flying at this moment. No birds in the sky. Some people were looking out towards the water to see if they could see how far apart another land went. People tried yelling across to others to check on them, to see if there would be a response. They were already thinking about making a makeshift boat to the other side. I could hear their voices echoing across. The scene changed and God showed me Egypt. The pyramids and the great Sphinx of Giza, it was gone. Nothing left of them. Barely anyone around. I feel like some of these people were raptured. A lot of them were dead, and some were maybe evacuated. I saw a rich man with long hair standing next to his private plane. When he saw his landmarks go down, he knew it was the end. This man also saw the rapture happen. He heard about it beforehand, but he did not believe in Jesus. He did not trust in him. He wanted nothing to do with Christianity. He was thinking about that now. He was mostly in shock, but he knew he had to get out of there. He kept looking up at the sky. It was mostly a clear sky there. There was an older man helping him fix his plane. The man seemed like he knew him beforehand. The plane just wouldn't start. He wanted to take his plane up since he saw us leaving in the sky. He knew he couldn't get out. He knew God would not allow him. But he wanted to investigate what happened up there. He knew that there has to be something up there that he could find. Any clues. He was saying up is better than being down here. He wanted to fly the plane to a different land. He just wanted to leave. He didn't want to be there anymore. And
Doug, I want to stop that right there. And a couple of key points. Now, I don't know this woman, but mind you, if you go back on my page, there's some dreams that I had. One, I believe that video is still on this page. I reproduced it, about skinwalkers, about the skinwalker aliens that are going to be running around. I thought just key takeaways from the dream. She said, and it's funny because she had some key takeaways that match some of the things that happened in some dreams that I had, and where she said Israel was going to be at the height of war when this happened. Well, look around. What's going on in Israel right now? So I thought that was the key part that caught my interest when I heard her talking about this dream. She said Israel was going to be at the height of war. It was going to be basically just off the chain, basically like World War III, right? Like all out war in the state of Israel, probably, and other countries joining in. That's where we're at now. So they're about to attack. They're about to launch an attack on Rafah, the last city where all of the people. They told everybody. They said, "Go to Rafah, you'll be safe." So you wind up having 1.5 million people in Rafah, and then they said, "We're gonna attack Rafah." You see, and kill these Arabs off in Rafah. And so Biden and the rest of them said, "Oh man, it's too gory, right? It's too much blood and death." They said, "Fuck that, we out. We don't want no parts of that Rafah shit, right? It's getting too thick with blood and death. You're killing these like 15,000 children over here, and now you're about to slaughter 1 million people in Rafah. Yeah, we're gonna have to back off of that." But they not. That's just lip service. They not. That's not true. And so, more than likely, when they attack Rafah and just start slaughtering the people in Rafah, you're gonna probably get people jumping in. Now, Rafah is right on the Egyptian border, so it's a good chance that the Egyptians may jump in. The Syrians have jumped in and stuff like that. So it's gonna expand. Now, she said in her dream, the war in Israel escalated to a high pitch. You see, and that's when that's where we are now. So it's interesting that she said that. Now maybe she's wrong. I don't know, right? She said, but then after that there was huge earthquakes, right? That literally that cracked the land. And then she said she talked about some stuff that happened in my dream. She said these aliens showed up and they were killing people, right? Which I've talked about. They call in my dream they were called skinwalkers. And then she said that the pyramids, which I also talked about, but this was biblical. It came from two sources. One was biblical, the other was from a remote viewing team called Farsight, where they did something called the eye of Sarat, right? The eye of Sahara, right? And but basically, um, yeah, I think it's Joel. In the Bible, it's I'll quote. It's I think Joel 3:19. And Egypt shall be a desolation, right? So in the book of Joel, it's predicted that Egypt shall be totally wiped, and that's what she said. Now I doubt very, and I know these people. Trust me, she's never read the book of Joel, so it's not like, she read that and then she had a dream. Now I have. I've read the book of Joel. That woman has never read the book of Joel, right? Guarantee. I bet $100. And mind you, it's the shortest book in the Bible. And so, but uh, in the book of Joel 3:19, he says, "In Egypt shall be a desolation, in Edom a waste." You see, Edom is a race of people. He said, "I'm gonna wipe out a whole race of people, and I'm gonna level Egypt and kill everybody there." Right? I'm gonna destroy the pyramid. Now, I've talked about that. I said, based on that, I believe it. And then she has a dream. She said she saw the pyramids totally destroyed. So I thought that was interesting, and it matches up with Bible prophecy, right? And it also matches up with some of the information from the remote viewers, right, who talked about the Eye of the Sahara and how it used to be pyramids there, and there were aliens there, and they had a base there a long time ago, and it was destroyed in the lake of fire. You see, and the same thing, and then they came back and they built the pyramids in Egypt. So you had to understand that the Egyptian pyramids are a sign of alien infestation. It's like you got roaches in your house, right? Or something. You said, what is a sign that you've been infested with roaches, right? What is a sign, you know, like the Bible said, he said, in the Bible it said you can tell when it's going to rain, different things, but you cannot recognize the coming of the Son of Man. You can predict all these things, but you cannot recognize the coming of the Son of Man. You have to understand what the Son of Man means. The Son of Man is a reference to the Lord of Hosts. You see, so yeah, so um, you have to understand the signs, right? And so I do believe, I'm not gonna make this too long. I do believe that this was an accurate dream from this woman. So it caught my attention. A lot of times, they're talking about rapture and all that bullshit. I kind of tune out. But when she started saying that she saw that the pyramids was destroyed and that Israel was in a high state of war, and the next thing you know, the um, there was huge earthquakes all over the planet. I'm like, okay, well that's a no-brainer, right? So either it's bullshit and this war stops, or if let's say she's right and it's not bullshit, then you would see the chain of events like she said. You would see more war expanding, particularly in the Middle East, right? And next, you would see some huge earthquakes that would literally rip apart parts of the United States and the earth. Um, and then you would see the aliens everywhere, right? These coming out the wood. I mean, they're here already, but then they would go into attack mode, and that's part of the judgment. I believe that the Lord of Hosts is allowing that to happen. He's gonna, like release them. You know what I mean? Like you release a bunch of dogs. You know what I mean? You release a bunch of attack dogs. I think he's at a certain level. He's gonna release them and let them just, ravage people. While the salvation event occurs, and then she said the pyramids get destroyed, get wiped out, and Egypt gets destroyed. Makes sense to me. I know people probably say, well, that's crazy, but nah, it makes total sense. You see, if you understand what reality truly is, as opposed to what you want it to be. See, most people are like, you know what? I want, I'm going to a party tonight. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Me too. I'll probably go hang out. That doesn't mean I don't understand. The difference between me and you is I'm going to hang out and I may be partying, right? Hanging out with some chick, having drinks or whatever. But I know the truth. I mean, I understand what reality is. I know that, I understand a temporary false reality. I understand that it's all an illusion, which means I can enjoy myself even more. You see? So, but yeah, so we have to understand what the true reality is, regardless. You know, sure, you say, don't rain on my parade. But one thing you have to understand, like reality is not a bad thing. It's not bad. It's not bad. Reality is not bad. Salvation is a good thing. You see, because like something good to begin, for something good to really take place on the earth, something bad may have to happen first. I guess it's one way to put it, right? And you have to be okay with that, you know, and understand that sometimes things go into transition, and it's not just because you see some events that you picture as bad happening. Well, don't be shocked by them, right? Don't be shocked. As they say, don't be scared, be prepared, right? And so information is shock resistance. That's all. And just know that if it's meant to be, you'll come out on the other side and things will be much better for everyone that does. So the current paradigm can't continue to exist. It's out of balance, right? And so you have to understand that things are out of balance. And so if they're out of balance, then they have to be brought back to balance. The scales, you know, as Thanos said, the scales must be tipped to balance. You see? And so it's not going to be easy, but in the end, it'll be for the best. You know? So that's all I got.